Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of... Wait, what's it called again? Wild Endeavour. We're so
Great
professional.
start. Amazing.
Yeah.
Professional.
Welcome
Brilliant.
to the Wild Endeavour podcast. I'm your host, TARDIS, and my co-host...
The Tharies.
Jean-Luc Harry. The Jean-Luc Harry. How are you doing today, Jean-Luc Harry of Jean-Luc Harry?
I am very good.
Are you hyped to go on a wild endeavour?
No.
No, you're just sad.
I hate you.
You hate this podcast.
Yeah, we're
is
two people that hate each other, and you've dragged me on this.
Yep. No, like, I feel like I should clear up a misconception, because I imagine initially, right, like a lot of the initial traffic for this podcast is going to come from my channel. So I want to clear up a little misconception. But
everyone on your channel hates me.
Exactly, that's what I was going to clear up. So, for any of you who don't know, we'll get into, like, introducing ourselves in due course. But, for any of you who don't know, me and John, we did a little Photoshop weird, funny video for my channel.
The thing is, that actually is something he dragged me on into.
No,
like I said, that's a joke here. He threw that, like, we were just talking, he was like, I have this idea, and then he just started recording mid-conversation.
Yeah,
I was like, what is happening?
I feel really bad, because, unfortunately, they haven't seen that aspect, and they blamed you for the video being terrible, and it's not really your fault. I threw it on you when you weren't ready, and you weren't...
Well, the problem also is that it's like a 17-minute video for something that should be like 5.
Yeah. You know, let's not dwell on the Photoshop video too much. I'd rather forget about it forever and permanently.
Yeah, that's why we've started the podcast, just so we can so that isn't my last. Yeah.
This
that's
is
my
your
last
redemption
mark on the
arc.
Tharies channel.
But yeah, Jean's actually...
Hopefully, like, what happens if people just hate this? This could somehow end up being worse.
It could. If it does, I'll just cry. And
you'll just block me on all platforms and be like, yep, that's our relationship done.
Okay, so, but Jean-Luc's actually pretty cool guy. He's not super boring. I mean... You know, he's not as cool as me. No, anyway, let's do a bit of an introduction. I'll start off with you. Would you like to tell the audience, the Wild Endeavour viewers, a little bit about Jean-Luc?
I've been part of the Doctor Who community, I guess, since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I made a Twitter account and stuff around that time, and I've watched Doctor Who pretty much all my life. I grew up with it. My dad was a really big fan. So it's kind of always been around me. I guess I'll talk about, like, getting into YouTube and stuff, because when I made my initial Twitter, that was when I obviously got started with Universal stuff, and I just started messaging random people being like, hey, you want to start this group channel, which is just a kind of blatant rip-off of 5 Who fans.
The Universal's...
It has luckily kind of grown out of that. Like, the only really carryover is the colour thing.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I'm someone that makes videos but also doesn't really make videos. Like, I have a YouTube channel. I upload like once every 6 months. I don't know if you want to watch.
Yeah, no.
Anything.
And like, we've known each other, I want to say we've known of each other's existence for a while before we actually started conversing.
Oh yeah, because I didn't like you initially, because I knew you as this NMD. yeah. It wasn't until I saw the Channel Pup video where he was kind of just talking to you, where I was like, hey, this guy actually seems alright, you know?
Yeah.
I did kind of feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, during the whole, like, no zone, like,
yeah,
stuff.
Oh god. Oh man, I hope he doesn't listen to this.
I hope he does, because that would be really funny.
I don't want him to start tweeting about me again, for God's sake. But no.
I suppose I'm more known just for my Twitter stuff, like just being on Twitter.
Yeah.
Shit posting, whatever.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, because I feel like, because you're just someone who's always been like part of the community, just generally. You've always been around. Like, especially like in like the Twitter fan base, so it's interesting hearing a bit about how all that started. So would you say, like, when you joined Doctor Who Twitter in 2016, would you say, like, your presence has changed since then? Like, how were you on 2016 compared to now?
I don't know. I think I was Well, I was a lot more of the kind of like Capaldi bad kind of group. I kind of fell into that. Where it was
I think
like,
everyone did.
I was I was around the time where like just Moffat bad.
Yeah.
Because I grew up watching. Well, I say grew up like in like 2015, 2016. Like I was watching a lot of like Mr. TARDIS, Five Hoofuts. Essentially, just the whole of like that the YouTube community around that time were all kind of like just Moffat bashing.
Yeah.
I think I kind of fell into that camp quite early on.
Yeah, no. The whole thing with, like, the Doctor Who community, what I find so interesting about the Doctor Who community, and we'll probably end up talking about this more as this podcast goes on, assumedly if it passes the first episode, which I hope it does, you know. I don't want it to be, like, sort of, like, you know, Rome didn't fall in a day sort of thing, but,
Yeah.
I guess... what's interesting about the Doctor Who community is there's this common misconception, I guess, that like negativity and discourse, quote unquote, only started recently. Like that's a recent invention, as in with the advent of, I guess, the 13th Doctor era, Chris Chibnall, all these controversial things, Time as Child, whatever. But actually, the Doctor Who fan base as I've known it has always been the same. Like,
it's been the same even during like the RTD era. It was just it wasn't Twitter. It was like what's it, Outpost Gallifrey or whatever they used.
Yeah. Outpost Gallifrey. I gotta say, can I actually say it's like Gallifrey base? I just don't like it. Not the people.
I've never been on it. I've never used it. I've heard stories. I've never delved into it myself. It doesn't appeal to me.
It's not even the people. It's just I don't like the way it's formatted. I find it very cumbersome to like try and navigate because it's like a bunch of chats that are like stacked up on top of each other, and to find anything specific, you have to scroll through hundreds and hundreds. And
isn't that somewhat like Discord?
No, because like Discord's like servers, and like you can have individual interests, and I guess it's kind of like that, but like Discord, it's not Doctor Who themed, and it's like got a whole video and messaging aspect to it. Whereas from what I've seen of Gallifrey base, it's very old school internet of like, here's some chat forums, like kind of vibe. And I understand why that's appealing to people, but for me, I'm a bit like, I feel like I grew up at a point where those kind of chat rooms, so to speak, were kind of on their way out, and I feel like Gallifrey base, for me,
I feel like it's just not changed since it started up. It's always kind of stayed the same.
I feel like Gallifrey base is a sort of a symbol, if you like, of that bygone internet era of like, oh, let's all get in a chat room and talk about random things in like these massive long threads. You know, it's not very streamlined, but yeah, it's not something I expected to talk about initially. Was there anything else you wanted to let the audience know about yourself?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really sure, because it's like, I guess check out my YouTube, check out my Twitter, you'll probably find out more about myself, just if you continue to listen to this podcast. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, I'm not really an interesting person. Like,
nah, you're interesting. You're interesting. We have had many an interesting conversation, and I hope they translate over. If they don't, then, well, on to the next thing, I guess.
I'm just the guy that tries to ratio theories on Twitter every 2 weeks.
The thing is, you were good at that to a point. And then
I was good at that before you started or like midway through the leak videos, and then you just grew, like, you just doubled your audience, tripled your audience or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
That whole period of like my online presence is kind of mental. Like, it's weird to think how quick. I don't think I mean, maybe if like RTD2 stuff really takes off, but I don't know whether I'll have a period of growth that was just.
Yeah, because you had like 1K subscribers when I first like saw you.
Yeah, well, at the start of 2021, I had 3K. By the end, it was almost 10, which doesn't sound like a major difference, because YouTube these days, it's like channels with millions of subscribers and hundreds of thousands.
No. Yeah. But the difference between like mainstream YouTube and Doctor Who YouTube, there's a very big gap there.
Yes,
like 10K,
there is,
10K is very, very good for like a Doctor Who YouTube channel.
Yeah, and like that, like you gotta think, like I basically tripled in size in the span of like a year, which is pretty good growth, you know, all things considered. And I wasn't expecting it, because I suppose we can go into, I guess, my segment now. I suppose the majority of you will probably know me initially probably coming from when I shout this out on the main channel. Obviously, I have been a Doctor Who fan since around about 2008, like late David Tennant. Started with The Next Doctor, that was my first episode. A weird introduction, it has to be said. The Next Doctor is kind of very...
Yeah, because how did that really work? Because the whole premise of that episode is essentially baiting you into this guy is the next Doctor.
Yeah, like, I guess I didn't really think about it. I was just like, oh, cool, this alien can change faces, but this guy isn't one of them. Like, I think maybe, I've always said this, like, as much as I do believe Doctor Who needs to be streamlined for general public to a certain degree, I also think perhaps we underestimate, like, how much people can get on board with certain things, especially now. Like, I don't think the idea of an alien who can change their face is that outlandish to a modern 21st century audience. No. Especially now, with the advent of things like Marvel and Star Wars getting big resurgences. But yeah, I just kind of accepted, this guy is a time traveler who fights aliens, who's got a blue box, and that's cool, because I like blue and time travel. Great, this will be the show that I like. So yeah, that was the first one, and then I suppose around about 2013, I started getting actively into like YouTube and stuff. Like my parents, I had one of those those shit like tablets, the Android ones that are like, very like early Android, like Android like 6 or 5 or whatever it was, like one of the early...
I used to do stuff like that on YouTube back in like 2013 and stuff as well, like webcams or like just whatever you could essentially get your hands on as a camera.
Yeah,
like I
didn't really upload anything,
like, fan films and whatever.
Yeah, no, I didn't even really upload anything for a while though, because my dad was very like, don't know whether I want you to be like doing this, because I think what people forget, even in like 2013, yes, YouTube was becoming this big thing, but like 2013 was really when it was starting to be a big thing. No one really knew, like, it was still transitioning from that niche little website that like, sort of internet people used to this just juggernaut of entertainment that it is now. It's one of the biggest like entertainment platforms like globally. It's got so many different users and all that.
I think it wasn't until like 2015, 2016 when it properly started to break more into the mainstream.
Yeah, and to be fair, when I started watching it, I was like 10, so I can kind of understand him not being like, I don't know whether I feel okay with you, like, just posting this. Because, like, that's the thing, things you post online, they can just be there forever. Yeah. And I think I think that is something I've learned since then, either by my own sort of will to learn that, or the hard way of, like, making mistakes online and then being like, crap, I've done it bad.
I'm glad all internet presence of me has been like just purged from like post 2016.
Yeah, like I am glad. To be fair, to a certain extent, I'm glad. I think I kind of started doing YouTube around the right time for me. I mean, to be fair, like a lot of my early like 2018 videos have been purged for a similar reason. They're just shit and bad, and I had no production value. It was just me recording an image of Doctor Who on my phone and going, yep, and just talking over it, and that was the video. Like, they were very, very crude.
Wait, you recorded, like, the picture on your phone?
Yeah, so what I would do, right, this is actually how Theories started.
But that's the bullshit thing of, like, when he just records, like, his, like, computer screen.
Well, it was more primitive than that.
Like, with camera.
Because, like, what I would do, I had, like, this crap screen recording software, like Android screen recording software. I think it was called like AZ Screen Recorder, something like that.
Okay.
What it would do is it would record what was ever on your screen and also somehow record like the microphone audio coming out your phone, right? So what I would do is I would go on a Doctor Who video, pause it at a point I thought looked cool, click record, and then I would basically just talk about whatever the latest episode was at the time. I think when I started, The Witchfinders just came out, and I was just kind of venting my like disappointment at Series 11, because I really didn't like Series 11, still don't, to this day.
Wow. Yeah. I always forget how recent 2018 was.
Yeah,
like, when I align it with Doctor Who, I'm like, oh yeah, that really wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, it was recent, but at the same time for me, like so much has changed. Like Like,
definitely.
it feels recent, but also like ages ago. And I think that's also like partially to do with the pandemic as well. It's created this massive wedge between late 2010s and early 2020s, where there's just like this void of like nothing's really happening, but also like lots is changing, and it's mental. Like that whole period, I think 2020 is just, and 2021 to a certain extent as well, has really just messed up how we perceive like time and the progression of time and like how it's meant to go and stuff. But yeah, so that was how my videos started. Over time, like, unfortunately, like, initially I did fall in under the wrong crowd, which we did mention. I was 15 at the time I started making videos, so still pretty young, really.
Yeah, like you were pretty impressionable.
Yeah, and this was like pre-Tommy. This was like pre-Tommy in it, where like 16-year-old creators was like a normal thing. Like obviously there were. I'm not going to say, oh, I was the only one who was 15.
yeah, obviously not.
But like, I think the age sort of for a content creator is getting younger and younger as time has gone on. So like, yeah, I kind of was very impressionable. Fell in with the wrong crowd because I didn't like Series 11, but I couldn't.
I mean, yeah, it was just that thing. If you didn't like this thing, everyone else kind of on Twitter like was either they liked the thing or there was the people that didn't like the thing, and it just happened that the people that didn't like the thing and supported you were the Not My Doctor, people.
Yeah, and it's like the problem is, as I was going to say, like I didn't like the current era, like Series 11, but I couldn't figure out why. And the most people I saw who agreed with what I had to say on Series 11 were the NMD lot. So I was like, I must be one of them then. And I kind of just became one, sort of, because of that. I was like, well, I'm clearly this.
Yeah.
Because this was before, like, again, I say like it was an eternity ago, but this was before, like, a lot of widespread criticism of, like, the current era became mainstream and relatively, like, commonly accepted. I mean, still on Twitter it's a bit debated on there, but I mean, in the widest internet sense, people now agree, yeah, okay, the writing can be a bit nah. Whereas, like, back then, there was this element, especially back then, of, like, tribalism and, like, if you don't like this thing, you're a horrible person, rah. And it was like, so I think that did discourage a lot of people from speaking out too negatively against it, at least initially, I think. Anyway, besides obviously the actual just like mad people, but like outside of that, I think from most normal like level-headed Doctor Who fans, they were like really trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, even if they didn't like it.
Yeah.
You can go, if you watch Series 11 reviews at the time, I'm not naming anyone specific, but you can kind of tell they're not holding back. But it's just like...
I completely get that, yeah. I
think
like
even I did
steps, to a certain...
You know what I mean? It's like...
It's almost like... I think it's almost something you did with Flux, though, where it's kind of like... It's so new, but you're like, I'm kind of willing to give it a chance. Maybe I'll be a little bit lenient on it.
Well, I think the reason I was for Flux was because it was that, like, one story. So I thought, you can't really judge it on, like, the first episode. Like, it is doing a lot of setup stuff. I'll see how it goes. It was really the midpoint of Flux where I was like, hang on, they're doing more setup and it's episode 3 in a 6-part series. And I know you could say like, oh, you could still do setup in part 3. It's like, yeah, you can, but with the amount that he was setting up, I was like, there's no way this is going to be cohesive by the end.
It was, every second episode was set up, and you can't really do that when your series only consists of 6 episodes.
Exactly, and it came to a point with criticism of, because now people like JXC have like the Fall of Doctor Who, which is like got like nearly 3 million views on YouTube, and like there's massive video essays with hundreds of thousands of views that like everyone's kind of seen and discussed and whatever. But like when I was sort of starting out, there wasn't that really. There was the nitpicks videos, and that was about it.
All right, yeah.
In terms of like actual proper critical. I know I'm probably what's the word? I'm probably generalizing there. I'm not saying there was no one who was being, constructive and critical of the current era, but I'm just saying there was this broader sense of like, let's give it a chance, guys, and let's be nice. I guess.
Yeah.
Which
I think it's fair wanting to give something a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think especially on reflection, like your opinions definitely do fully form over time, because a lot of people, you do just get kind of caught up in the hype initially.
I think it was a case as well. A lot of people at that time were very like, "Oh, I'll take anything that's not Moffat." Like that was
Exactly.
I think that was genuinely.
Well, that's
the
what I was
mentality.
like. It was like no one would be excited about Chris Chibnall taking over. It was just the fact that it wasn't Stephen Moffat anymore, and people really wanted a change.
Yeah, exactly.
No one's excited for like the Pond Life guy.
Yeah, exactly. But like because it was that thing of like, I guess, just something that wasn't that, because he had dominated the show for so long. People were like, I'll take whatever I can get. I think there was also an element, and I've discussed this before, of like, because there was such a vitriolic reaction to like Jodie's reveal, some of the comments that she got at the time, I think there did emerge this counter movement of like, I am going to protect this and love this no matter what, because just to spite the people who act like that. And I think to a certain degree, and I'm not like, again, this isn't calling out anyone directly, but I think it's an interesting talking point.
I don't know if they did it to particularly spite people, just based
Not
off
spite,
that.
but like I do think there was an element of like, I'm gonna be better than them, so I am going to. You're not better, but you get what I mean. They were just trying to distance themselves from.
I mean, I get distancing
crowd,
themselves, so yeah.
Yeah, but like they distanced themselves in such a way that was like overly, to the point of like.
It was essentially. I kind of get what you're saying. You're sort of just saying they're kind of creating that us against them mentality.
Yeah, and that kind of emerged a lot in the fan base, especially on like places like Twitter and stuff, where it was.
Yeah, Twitter's the worst for it.
Yeah, no, and I think what really started it was when you had like accounts like, obviously this is going to be very obscure to those who like aren't on Twitter regularly, I guess, but like Nut My Doctor and that. And like accounts that were entirely dedicated to be like, oh my god, look how terrible these Not My Doctor people are.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they are, but all you're really doing is showing it to more people and getting more people annoyed about it.
The problem with that is, you can do that. I'm not saying you can't call out this stuff, because I think it's good that you do call it out. If you have something to say, like if you're critiquing it and you're adding to the conversation, what Not would do is it would literally just post the screenshots, being like, haha, lol. And you're like, you're not really adding anything here, you're just kind of being like, these people said shitty things.
Yeah, and it would also, with that account, obviously, again, I'm not like, sort of attacking anyone who did it, like, at the time or anything, because, like, obviously, well, one of them came out to be the horrible person, but the other, he's relatively fine. But I guess what I am saying is, there were some posts on that which were literally just, I don't really like this for reason, and they were like, they'd like.
I mean,
quote
yeah,
tweet it and
I was featured on there for making a joke about Big Finish.
Yeah,
I just went like they announced something, and I was like, "Whoa, can't believe it doesn't even have pictures." I just went with. I can't actually remember what I said, but it was something along them lines. And like, yeah, they like screenshot that and posted that, and I was like, "Really, guys?"
Yeah, it's
obviously a joke.
It's weird with that, because like I think that was kind of the start of like the whole sort of weird sort of dynamic we have now of like, unfortunately, I think it's an internet-wide thing and a Twitter-wide thing especially, but I think like the incessant need to like own people over having civil discourse, I think, is a major problem with Twitter especially, and like the Doctor Who community as a wider thing. Is like, it's a lot easier to make like cheap points that get a lot of likes over actually constructing like a meaningful argument. And I suppose, like, especially on a platform like Twitter with its word limits and with it's designed to be addictive, that website, and it is designed to provoke arguments among people as well.
Because a lot of the discourse that starts isn't even necessarily like, it's usually just stuff that people have misinterpreted because people haven't explained themselves correctly, or people have almost created their own like their own meaning for it and taken what they want it to mean and then ran with that. And that's kind of a lot of where like tweets that you made have been read, because a lot of the time you would tweet out something, people would quote tweet it, whatever, be like, "Oh, Theory's starting discourse again." Then you'd get on a call with me, being like, "Oh, I didn't mean it like this."
Yeah.
I'm like, Theory, you need to think about it. You need to think about the tweet before you tweet it.
But then there are also times where I'm just like, you are literally deliberately just taking the most bad faith interpretation you can find, and like, it doesn't even make logical sense to extrapolate that from it. Do you know what I mean? When people would look for like things wrong with like a tweet that was worded fairly like well as well. Don't get me wrong, there are some tweets where I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have worded it that way. You know, I'm very much trying to be different with that. But I guess like the fan base we're in is a very interesting one, and it's a very diverse one. Not even just in terms of like groups, in terms of like minority
The
groups.
problem with Twitter,
like
just as a whole, is that everyone wants to look good on Twitter. Everyone wants to look like they're the most progressive, they're the most like ahead, and it's like everyone's out to get everyone on there.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter what you say, right?
Yeah.
If someone has a vendetta against you, right, and if you slip up even just the tiniest bit, they're coming for you.
So, I don't know whether many people saw this, but there was a thread released talking about why someone thinks Ace could very well be coming back for the 60th anniversary. Now, there is one thing that's not mentioned in this thread, I think, that I will mention. I don't know whether I'll be able to get a screenshot of it, but I think in an article for somewhere, Chibnall was like, oh, this new episode, or it might be Matt Stevens, this centenary special is going to be big for classic fans. Classic fans are going to love it. Which kind of gives credence to what we're about to talk about. Basically, as I said, rumours of Ace returning for the centenary. The basis for these is as follows, essentially. Ace is coming back for the centenary, and here's why. Thread. Chris Chibnall says he wants her back, along with Tegan, Amy, and Rory. If he could, why wouldn't he for the centenary special? And then the quote reads, "To be honest, the canon of Doctor Who is filled with amazing characters," Chibnall said. "I'd love to see Ace back, I'd love to see Tegan back, I'd love to see Amy and Rory, the list goes on."
I feel like this is very much though
just him saying names.
Yeah, just him being a bit of a fan of the
I
show,
think that is
and then
partly
saying
it.
stuff, and then people looking into it a bit too much. Like, I don't see that as solid evidence that, you know, these bringing back Tegan and Nyssa and Ace in an already looking to be very crammed centenary special.
Yeah, I don't see that as evidence on its own, but there is a couple more things. So the next one, I'll play this clip for, obviously, those of you watching.
I think Doctor Who now does these things called continuous days, which is where they film all day. I don't know whether you do that. And they don't have breaks. So we used to start at 10 in the morning. We'd have a bit of a break for tea. Then we'd have a lunch break of an hour. And then we'd finish at 10 o'clock at night. So they are long days. Now they do 8 till about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I think. And they don't stop. So they're eating on the run. They're sort of sorting themselves out. It's just incredible what all the crews and the different departments do.
It's basically a clip of Ace actress Sophie Aldred discussing the differences between the way the classic Who filming schedules go, and new Who filming schedules go. And obviously this has made people go, how would she know what their schedule is unless she'd been, like, involved recently? And I don't think that's evidence on its own, to be honest. Like, it's very well possible that she could have just spoken to people who are aware
because
and have
she's
worked
because she's very close, like, to that, like, side of things. Like, the people that are working on the show, like, there's always the actors mix all the time.
Yeah.
So there's definitely those conversations.
It's like, I don't know in itself whether that is evidence, to be honest. Like, if it is, fair enough. There are a couple more things, though, that suggest this. So the other one was, Sophie got asked about the centenary special, and apparently she was looking, like, really, like, nervous in an interview. So I think this was for some sort of con or panel or something. The question of the centenary got asked, and she looked evasive. That is basically...
yeah, I heard about this.
But the thing is, they always do that even if they're not in it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always that weird, like, ooh, I don't know, even if they're not,
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. It's definitely, yeah, you see it all the time with, like, certain Doctor actors when they're like, will you be back for the 60th? And they're like, oh, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know whether that's proof of anything in itself. Like, I know that, like, a lot of people say, oh, there's a lot of evidence.
I don't think there's much evidence here at all, to be honest.
No,
I think
there's one more thing
like,
that does give a bit of credence to it. But basically, are you aware of all the Tennant stuff, as well as there's basically one leaker who has been pretty reliable. They leaked the Master Reveal, the Timeless Child, and a bunch of other Series 12 info, and apparently they were the ones who were doing the Tennant rumor as well. They also said that she was in the Centenary as well. So there's not like, obviously, again, it really does depend with this whole thing how much you trust like leaker people and vague suggestions.
You see, yeah,
it's
because
like
that has more credence because they've obviously, like, predicted stuff that's come true in the past or leaked stuff that has been true. But at the same time, I'm like, why? Why would they bring Ace back? I feel like it's too much of an out there, like,
is it that out there back. Though? Because like
I think it is out. I think because we already know, like, that Joe Martin will be back, the Master will be back, it'll be dealing with all this Timeless Children stuff, Graham will be back, you know, it's wrapping up an entire, like, Doctor's era. So to have Ace just randomly, like, be there as well, just seems really odd. Oh yeah, also Unit will be there.
Yeah.
Like,
my only
the thing is, it wouldn't surprise me in the fact that Chris Chibnall does this all the time. Like, him overcrowding stories is kind of his trademark at this point.
Yeah.
But it's like, why?
It
would feel like forced fan service.
I definitely agree in that it would feel like that, but that doesn't necessarily make me think it's unlikely. Like, because if there's one thing Chibnall, and you kind of touched on it, is like the whole overcrowding stories thing.
Yeah.
But he especially loves an empty cameo. Think Captain Jack in Series 12. Think Kate in Series 13. Like, obviously they were coming back later, but like...
Yeah, the thing is, at least that set up that they were coming back later, whereas this is his last story.
To be fair, if she was working for Unit or something, or alongside Unit, could kind of see that. Also, I suppose, thinking about it, if
they reference the book?
Yeah, if it is his last episode, he might just go, fuck it. I'll just bring back this one character I want to do.
You know what, at that point, I'd be like, sure, why not?
And you know what, like, he's a big 80s fan as well, so that, to me, makes a lot of sense. Like, I personally don't want it. Well, not that I don't want it. I'd love Ace to come back. She's one of my favourite Classic Who companions.
Yeah.
Maybe my favourite, honestly. I've interviewed Sophie Oliver before. I'll see if I can leave a link to that. But like,
you just don't want Chris Chibnall to ruin Ace.
Kind of. I mean, kind of. It's more just like, I know for a fact that if Ace is in the Centenary, she's not going to get enough focus. I know for a fact.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I was meaning, though. Like, bringing her back seems kind of pointless now.
Yeah.
Because it would just be for a cameo.
I'd much prefer it if, like, they got, like, Sylve and Ace back for, like, a one-off episode in the 60th. That'd be class, but, like, just for this Centenary, I'm a bit like...
Yeah.
Again, I'm with you in the sense of, like, does it make sense for it to be there?
Yeah, because I'm already thinking it's like, well, I want more Joe Martin stuff, and it's like, she's not going to have enough stuff to do, like, coming back.
Because, like, they've got so much to balance already with the Centenary, as you said.
They have a massive arc to wrap up. And I'm sure they might touch on it a little bit in Legends of the Sea Devils, but I can't see it being the main focus.
I feel
Legends of the Sea Devils seems like a very standalone story.
Yeah, I feel like, unfortunately, we're at a point where, in order to get hype for an episode, or at least with the Chibnall era, it's like, bring back as many things as possible. That's why you have, like, Unit Influx, along with, like...
because references...
Suntarans and Daleks and Cybermen who are barely in it, and Weeping Angels. Yeah, but it's not, though. That probably should say, I'm not a big Jodie Chibnall fan. Sorry, I don't know whether... Most of you will know.
That's crazy! But, like, I'm leaving this podcast, man. You've thrown me. I thought we were going into this, you know? This was going to be the Chibnall podcast. You've just thrown that on me.
The Chibcast.
Oh, man.
The Chibnall, Wibbnall, talkie time. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing anymore. Yeah, but basically, I can't see it really. I mean, I can kind of see him doing it, but I just can't see it narratively working. Like, I guess if you're bringing back like Graham and that, like maybe she'll go, oh, maybe we need some more help to defeat the Cyber Masters, and she goes over to like a charitable Earth or something. But I love Ace, but I just don't feel like it's necessary, nor do I think it's likely. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that, basically. Alright.
Yeah.
So, the next thing, in a similar sort of vein, recently, Catherine Tate was asked about the 60th. There's a video clip, which I will play.
Now, Catherine, there's a rumour going around, apparently, that you might return in the, was it the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who? Any of these rumours?
Is there? Oh, I've probably started a lot of them, but what can I tell you? No, I wish it was.
Is there anything you can tell us?
Nothing.
Well, no one's been in touch if they have.
All right.
Okay. Well,
We tried.
that
I'm on the same number, I'd just like to say. So if you've got the money, I've got the time.
one thing we know is
In which she basically says, for those of you who perhaps are listening to this podcast via one of the other means of listening to the podcast, I haven't sorted them out yet. Like, when we're recording this, I haven't done that, but I will. Catherine Tate is basically quizzed on, hey, look, there's rumours of you coming back for the 60th, and she's basically like, oh, I can't tell anything, but like, they haven't been in touch. I couldn't tell you anything if they did, but they hadn't been in touch. I've still got the same number, and if you've got the money, I'll come back.
Yeah.
To be honest, a lot of people are comparing this to, like, the Andrew Garfield thing, right? Like, they're comparing it to the whole I'm not the werewolf, Spider-Man No Way Home thing. And while I would love for, that to be the case, I think it's more believable that she's just telling the truth here. Like...
Yeah. I was going to say, the only thing that gives this slight credence is, I suppose, the whole David Tennant coming back for the 60th.
There's been previous rumours that suggest it.
Yeah, and maybe... But then again, I feel like the Catherine Tate rumours have been going on since Flux, because I remember people were making out that she's been on the set, like, she's been seen in, like, Manchester... Wait, is that where it was filmed? No, not Manchester.
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like this is just kind of a carry-on from that.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I suppose with David Tennant coming back, it's kind of like now they kind of, rumoured to be coming back, they can kind of like link that to that. I mean, I'd love her to come back. I think it'd be great to see.
I would as well. I think you'd have to pluck her like from before the memory wipe, because otherwise, I think I would like. I don't like the idea of that being retconned, because I think that's just such a poignant Doctor Who scene, and I wouldn't like that to be messed with.
Yeah.
If she's plucked out from before that, fine. Although you probably have to explain why she looks older, but I don't know. You could just do the time crash method of like, time went all funny. Now we look like this. Oh no. So again,
come up with something.
I don't think the likeliness of her coming back for the 60th is impossible. I think it's kind of likely, but I don't think there's much more to it, really.
Well, Saris, we can ask her in 2 weeks.
We can, because we both are heading to Telford Comic Con. So if you're there, come and say hello.
Yeah, we're going to beat up John Barrowman.
Let's not get into that. We'll have to do like... oh man, I don't want to do the whole John Barrowman topic now, because honestly...
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, we've been going on for like just under an hour.
Has it been already? I'm really enjoying it.
Well, it's been like 50 minutes.
Okay. Well, I guess I've not got much else to say on Catherine Tate other than I'd like it to happen. I don't think. I think again, this doesn't confirm a lot. Like, she could be doing an Andrew Garfield, but I think it's more likely she just doesn't know. Like, she's just not been contacted. Like, I feel like if she had, maybe we'd have known by now, or at least, like, had a bit more implication than, like, a couple people on Reddit.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe Bad Wolf are more secretive. I don't know. I think it is fairly likely, but
I guess we'll see. I mean, I'm sure like news will be coming out like fairly soonish within the next few months.
You would hope.
Whether it'll
wouldn't
be,
you?
yeah, whether
Yeah.
it'll be about that, I doubt. But you know,
Yeah. Okay, so
we'll find out in due time.
yeah. So there's like, I guess, well, there's a couple more things I want to go through very quickly. This is another edition of Doctor actors change their hair color, therefore they're coming back. Peter Capaldi had his hair blonde, made more blonde for a role apparently, and it has now moved back to the traditional grey
Chalky
/ white
blonde.
color that his hair normally has, and obviously people are sort of making jokes about Capaldi for the 60th.
Capaldi isn't coming back, just the
yeah.
same as Christopher Eccleston isn't coming
I
back.
can't see him coming back.
I'm pretty sure Capaldi has dyed his hair or made his hair back to his natural colour because it just looks like right. He dyed it blonde for the role.
Yeah,
I doubt he just wants to have blonde hair.
I don't see any more to it than that, honestly. Again, I feel like a
I would
Debbie
love him
Downer.
to come back.
I feel like
I would.
I would. Yeah, I feel like a Debbie Downer going. Oh, I don't see anything to
We're
this
just
rumor,
going. Yeah, we're just
and I
going
don't
through
see
like all
anything for
these like
this. But
return rumors.
I
yeah.
just.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen.
I'm gonna
the way
be
he's
realistic.
spoken
I
about the
just
show.
don't, like, I think out
Yeah.
of the three of these, the most likely is probably the Ace Centenary one. Maybe like of the three, like.
Yeah.
But like, only because I could see Chibnall just being like, "Fuck it, yeah." Like I could just honestly, that wouldn't surprise me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I with a lot of these, I just don't think there's a lot to it, and like, I've gotten pretty good at analyzing these leaks now and these rumors now. Like I've done it long enough, and I think it just gets to a certain point where it's like we are clasping at straws a little bit. Like Doctor Who fans, we're not like Marvel or Star Wars fans where we get content regularly. We get content when the BBC deems it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like proclamations from a lord on high, we get bestowed with some Doctor Who news.
I mean, to be fair, like comparing it to something like Star Wars and like Marvel,
I'm
they're
not
obviously much bigger franchises.
Yeah,
There's
no,
multiple shows
I'm
and
not
films
saying
being produced
Doctor Who should be
all the
getting as
time.
much stuff yearly as Star
Yeah.
Wars or Marvel. That would be exhausting, frankly, to keep up with. What I am saying though is that as a result, we often, as fans, Doctor Who fans, we look.
we cling on to like
we look for things that aren't really there. To quote the Eighth Doctor exactly, humans always seeing patterns in things that aren't there, and I think that is, in some way, like the perfect summary of the Doctor Who fan base, especially when like the show's not on. It's like people look for these patterns, they look for these things that are going on because they're bored and want some news. So they'll like grab onto these very, very minimal things that maybe imply some news, but in the grand scheme, it's just an actor changing their hair color. Like,
Yeah, there isn't much there when you break it down.
like Tennant could come back because he also changed his hair color, and I think Tennant coming back is fairly likely, right?
Yeah, because Tennant's up for doing anything.
I think the thing that makes the Tennant thing more likely is that he restored his sideburns as well, which I don't think he'd had for a while. So that does make that a bit more, perhaps, of a thing. Yeah, I don't think Capaldi would come back unless it was in like kind of a William Hartnell in the Three Doctors capacity, where it was like a brief cameo type
maybe
deal.
yeah,
Maybe that.
I guess if the price is right, he'd come back.
But I can't imagine him doing an elongated role because he's even said, much like Chris Eccleston has said recently, like they both see multi-doctors. Like I think Capaldi said that if you do too many of them, they become less special. And with Eccleston, he's like, he finds them quite cheap. So I don't think either of those are particularly keen, and neither of them really need it either. Like, and I know in the case of Eccleston, like there's a lot more there that kind of acts as a barrier of entry. Well, not even of entry, but there's a lot in the in the relationships between Russell and Julie and Chris that we'll never really know. But I think especially seeing as it's that team coming back, Christopher Eccleston is basically 100% a no. Like, I posted the clip of him saying, if you want me back, you'll get me on my own. That was the clip that got people talking recently. And people are like, well, that could mean he'll do a solo episode. I just don't think that's what he means. I don't think that's what he means. I think he was referring to the fact that Big Finish got him on his own. and they got him to do like a series of Ninth Doctor audios, I don't think that means he'll come back to do an episode, especially not under Russell and Julie.
I'll be honest, him saying that has kind of made me a bit sad, because I'm like, even like Big Finish, I was like, oh come on, I just want the 10 and 9 audio, just give me it.
Yeah, he's not doing that. Like I
just want the RTD Doctors to be together.
He's very specific about what Doctor Who stuff he wants to do, and I think we should respect that as fans. There are people
I'm
being
just
like,
glad that, it's almost like I'm just happy that he's come back and he's doing more stuff. I'm just grateful for that, because there was a point like a few years ago where we're like, Series 1 is the only Ninth Doctor content we really have with Christopher Eccleston.
I will say, in terms of the fan base, there's something that has annoyed me of recent with the Christopher Eccleston stuff. People talking as though he owes us like a return.
Yeah.
Like as fans, he owes us his appearance in the 60s.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
No, he was an actor that did a job.
He doesn't owe us anything. We are fans. We consume media. That is as far as it goes. There is a lot to that, obviously, with his mental health and his position, that we will never be fully privy to, and quite frankly, I don't think we need to be. So
I mean, working on like that Series 1, the show made him ill, as well as like the whole like relationship breakdown.
Exactly. Let the man have his privacy. Let the man do. It's lucky we've even got him back for audio.
I mean, just be grateful. Like, he's produced 2 new series on audio.
That's more. I'd love Christopher Eccleston to come back on TV. It'd be incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
But
it'd be
you can't force someone to do it just because it'd be good for the fans.
Yeah,
you're not entitled to it, and I feel that is something that does need to be addressed and does need to be said. As much as we support actors and we support creators, they don't actually owe us anything. Like, I know that I, complain when there's no news and stuff. When I do that, it's more in a memey way, and B, I'm more so complaining about the company at large rather than going, Chris Chibnall's not releasing Legend of the Sea Devils information. One, because it's probably not all his doing.
Yeah, it's not on him. It's down to the marketing team.
But also, ultimately, I think there's a difference between going up to an actor and being like, "You do this because the fans want it," and come on, multi-million-pound company, can you not show a trailer for an episode 2 weeks before it releases? You know what I mean? It's I think there's a difference between those two things.
100%.
Just, I'm just covering myself there before someone goes, well, actually, you complain when there's no... Yeah, I think there's a difference between those two things.
Yeah, going forward with this podcast, we are going to bring, a range of topics each. It was just for episode 1. Kind of worked everything around, so...
Well, yeah, I was just for episode 1, I was like, I'll just talk about some of the things that have been happening, because, the thing is, there's not a lot that's been happening, but there's enough that we could fill quite a bit of time with it, I guess. This mouse isn't... Oh, now it is. There we go. I don't know why it wasn't before, but it is now. Okay, so the final bit of news I have is that Wright & House Archives Doctor Who Season 11 and 12 trading cards have an official release date. So these are physical trading cards based on... I don't know why Flux isn't included, but Season 11 and 12 trading cards...
Odd. Were they just, produced before
I suppose,
then?
Probably. So it says here, 2022, Wright & House Archives Doctor Who Season 11-12 Trading Cards Hobby Edition delivers 4 autographed cards, including 1 inscription autograph, and 24 parallels. What's a parallels?
I'm not sure.
Is that
is this card game only, I assume it's a trading card game.
They're trading cards,
I don't know much about it.
Well, yeah, I do. That's why I'm reading the little...
Yeah, are they only, are the only series they're doing from series 11 and 12?
Yeah.
Because I feel
seems like that.
That seems quite limited then, in terms of, how many cards you can make.
They also say, insert chase cards in every box, limited edition release. Okay, only 5,000 numbered boxes with all autographs signed on card. Okay, so I'm getting the vibe that this is a limited thing, right?
Yeah, it sounds like that, yeah.
It's not going to be...
this isn't going to be you can go into your local news agents and
Yeah, this is not going to be like Battles in Time or the Monster Invasion ones where they were quite common and
Yeah.
mass-produced. Like
Yeah,
this
trading them
seems
like in the playgrounds and stuff.
more like a fan-exclusive hobby-ish thing. They even
Yeah, I think
refer
this
to
is.
it.
I think this has come around a lot because of the backlash that came from what's it, Worlds Apart, and
Yes,
people being like,
but the NFT one, basically, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
basically what they are. Okay,
you
so
love NFTs, Tharies.
they actually just have a full list of like the characters that you can get. Apparently they're hobby exclusive. What's hobby? Is that like an
Yeah,
online retailer, or is that what's that?
Oh,
Kind
I
of
thought
hobby
you meant. I
craft.
thought yeah. All right. I thought when you said that you meant like
Hobby.
that they're the hobby. Yeah, you need to have a hobby and like
Oh no,
playing cards.
hobby archives. What is this? I think they're like cards.
Yeah, I've
What
not
is
heard of
this?
them.
Soccer cards. I think they're card something to do. There's something to do with cards, and they're distributed by Writing House Archive. I don't know. Anyway, so okay, so the product highlights. So hobby exclusive, all signed. So these are the signed ones, I guess. You can get Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, Mandip Gill as Yasmin Khan, Tosin Cole as Ryan, Sacha Dhawan Master.
So wait, do you know every card you're getting? Kind of thing. So it's like, do you buy them individually, or is it like you buy a pack of cards?
I don't know because they're referencing a box. I assume they come in. Oh, base parallels 1 pack. Oh, so there's a base set of 60 cards.
Okay.
With 3 cards, with 3 cards for each of the 10 series 11 episodes and each of the series 12 episodes. Okay, so there's 60 cards in total.
All right.
And I assume that some of them will have different functions in the actual game. I probably won't play the game. I'll probably just collect the cards. But so you have.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we should buy a pack each and then open.
Yeah,
them, like,
that'd be fun.
One of these episodes.
Yeah, that would be good actually. So yeah, we got Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, Mandip Gill, Yaz, Tosin Cole. These are the signed ones, I think. The ones that you can get signed.
I want a Krasgul card. I want a Jack
Tosin
Robertson card.
Cole. I think they might actually be a thing. Tosin Cole, Rudsinger, Sacha Dhawan the Master, Joe Martin, the Future Doctor, Sharon D. Clark, Alan Cummings, King James, Brett Goldstein, who's Astos. Who's Astos?
Wait,
Is
who?
that from
Yeah, I'm like,
Ghost
I don't
Monument?
even know.
Right? Like maybe. I'm gonna look up Astos Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Wait, is Astos the girl one?
I don't know.
Oh, I assumed that there was just images that you were looking at.
No, it's just a list. I'll see if I can
Oh.
send it to you after the fact. It's just a list. Oh, it's a guy.
Yeah,
It's the guy from Saranga Conundrum.
Oh, that's why none of us knew.
He got
who
killed
was.
off in 10 minutes. Why did you make a card of him?
But that's what I was thinking, though. I was thinking if you've limited to like your cards down to just series 11 to 12, you're like
I
that's
guess,
kind
yeah,
of
you're gonna have to
restricting.
stretch, I suppose.
Yeah.
These are all ones you can get signed. So Patrick O'Kane as well, the Lone Cyberman. Paul Casey, Jadoon Captain. Mark Addy Paltrow. This is the thing. So they're listing the names. Are the cards going to look like the characters or the actors?
I assume so.
I assume they're going to look
No,
like
no,
the
no,
characters
no, I
and then
assume
played by the
yeah.
actors, right? Like,
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Because it'd be very strange to just buy a card. with a
Mark
picture of the
Addy
actor.
Paltraki. Oh god. Samuel Oatley, Tim Shaw, Robert Glinster, Thomas Edison, Sylvie Briggs, Ada Lovelace, Bav Palmer. I'm apologising if I'm butchering the name. Sonia Khan. Anjali Mahindra is Queen of the Sith. Nick Briggs, Voice of the Daleks, and Celine Baxter, Tecteun. I'm assuming that's Series 12 Tecteun, not Series 13 Tecteun. There's a couple more details to this, but I think you get the gist.
Yeah, we get the general idea of it.
And yeah, that's the trading cards. I mean, yeah, I think we should probably get some and
Yeah,
do an
yeah,
episode.
because I probably
unboxing
wouldn't
or
get
something.
them otherwise, but I'm somewhat interested just to see.
I
Like,
want to know what the quality
kind
is
of-
going to be like because they all
Yeah.
seem to be signed as well.
Yeah, well, I assume there are some signed ones, and then there are some, just general ones.
Yeah.
But,
There's also like stuff to do with like.
with them being so limited, I'd assume that they would be decent quality.
Yeah, there's also things like New Year's special cards and TARDIS cards and Heroes of Doctor Who and like there's a bunch of extra things I think, but those are just like the main signed ones. They're like I'm guessing they're like the main limited ones. Oh, it's
Okay.
one inscription autograph in every box. So I assume you get a box of like 60 and you'll get one of the special signed cards.
Okay,
You won't
yeah, that
know
makes sense. Yeah.
which one it'll be, so it's kind of like incentivizing you to buy multiple packs of 60. How much are these going to be? Like from
Yeah,
a
that's what.
price.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because if it's like you're buying a box of 60, but wait, doesn't that mean that can you only buy them in boxes of 60? Because I'm thinking, aren't the 60 cards going to be the same?
I don't know because the
And you'd only be buying them
base
for the
set,
special
they
card.
say is 60 cards with 3 cards from each. With
Yeah, I'm
3
thinking
cards
how
for
many
each
how many
of the
cards
10.
how many cards can they get out of like just these 2 series? That's what I'm trying to think. So
I suppose like if you think about it from like the RTD era perspective, like they managed to get cards out of like every
Yeah, but
villain and every like
that yeah, but
character.
the difference between that is that was 4 like different series or whatever. This is like 2
But
series.
even for like if you
and
look at like series 1 and 2 cards, they had quite a few. Like
a lot of the series 11 villains though are a bit
the
like
Morax. I mean, look, they've got the guy. They've got a signed card from the guy from Saranga Conundrum. I don't think they care about
Yeah, true,
obscurity.
yeah.
Like I think they're just gonna put whoever.
yeah. So every character from Saranga Conundrum.
Yeah, the pregnant man.
Yeah.
No, I hope they have like little stats, like the pregnant man. Like if you equip him, it's got like a bad father radar. I don't know. Like, oh man. Yeah.
The bad father
That
from
was-
like It Takes You Away.
That was interesting though. Like I think we should get some when they come out.
Yeah.
If there's anything more
When do
on
they
that,
come out? Is there like a date on the
I
website?
think it said May. It's weird that they didn't just wait a bit longer to get Series 13 in there. Because
Yeah.
it feels weird
Because
having
it would have been the perfect time for it.
I guess, but like, it says production images coming soon. Wait, did it say a date?
Like I assume if these do well, then we might get
Because the
Series
tweet
13
I
cards
saw
added.
said have some more details, including a May release date. IDK if they'll be in shops. I don't know where it says May. It doesn't
like
say
everything
May
else,
anywhere I can
we'll
find.
I'm sure we'll find out just close to the time.
Yeah, they'll probably have like a spread on like the Doctor Who Twitter being like, hey, cards, and then we'll be like, cool.
Whoa.
And then that'll be it. But listen, everyone, I think that's going to wrap up the first episode of Wild Endeavour. I'm very good at this because I totally
Oh
didn't
yeah,
forget,
yeah, that's what it's got.
forget
Yeah.
the name of the podcast for a second there. Thank
You
you
forgot
all.
the name of the podcast starting the episode.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's new. It's all new to me because my brain wants to go Tharies. Well, thanks for watching this Tharies
Welcome
video.
back to the Tharies podcast.
Yeah, that's what it wants to do because I've had that before. But now I'm like, no, it's Wild Endeavour, which sounds cooler, by the way. But yeah, well, we never really talked about the name of the podcast. But I mean, we could do that for like episode 2. That could be episode 2.
Sure.
Sure. All right. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Be sure to subscribe to me, Tharies, and subscribe to Jean Lee Carey. We have been your hosts. And we'll see you on the next Wild Endeavour. Bye, everyone.